Welcome to Dynamics of Dialogue, your one-stop shop for peace and love on the airwaves, a safe space for people of color and our allies. Join us every week as we have real dialogue with people going through real life. Your dynamic, your dialogue. Come get some. Hey everybody, this is your host Rebel Queen, and we're getting ready to start our show today. Today is part 2 of Pleasure Principle and Safe Spaces. We said that we were going to take your questions and we were going to answer your questions, and that's what's going to happen today. So before I get started in on this part, let me just go ahead and frame this up for you really well. One of the things, we had Takesha on here the other day, and she was showing us some toys, some really nice toys. and we talked about conversations that a lot of people have, open and honest conversations, right? And we want to find ways to create space to have those conversations with your partner, because at the end of the day, we know there's lots of stuff going on, and at the end of the day, we don't really want dishonest relationships, right? When people are not getting their needs met inside the relationship, they're going to get it met outside of the relationship. So we're going to kick this conversation off with this one important question. How do we create safe space to have these conversations with our partner about all of these, curiosities, this sexual curiosity that we have?
Well, I think for starters, you have to, it's important to be upfront and honest with your partner about maybe some of the feelings and ideas you're having. So I would just warmly introduce the topic to your partner, unless your partner has expressed previously expressed, look, I'm not interested in having these conversations. Then at that point you have a decision to make as far as the relationship. But it's always great to communicate your feelings and your thoughts and identify, let your partner know, hey, I'd like to have this discussion with you and I want to make sure you're comfortable. So go in, with the disclaimer initially or first.
Okay. So just going with the disclaimer, and but what if you're feeling anxious? Because one of the things I think we talked about earlier is that I think bringing up this type of subject can have a little bit of embarrassment. Sometimes a little shame. I think there's an impression about how women are supposed to be. I think maybe some men might feel like right. Their sexuality might be challenged by these questions.
You have to be comfortable, one, with being yourself and knowing who you are. And if you're not comfortable with that, then any conversation that you attempt to have with about anything that you want to discuss with your partner or anyone else is going to be anxiety riddled. So becoming or getting to a space or a place where you're comfortable with your feelings and with your thoughts is going to be necessary moving forward or having these conversations with your partner.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, I hope y'all are ready for some questions, because we're going to get down to the first one. I don't know which one I don't know which one I should start with. I think I'll probably start with one of the most challenging ones first.
Yes.
Okay. To kind of get that out of the way. I don't know, then that just might bust everybody in the eye, but hey, you already know me. If you know me, then you're not surprised by these questions. These are not my questions. That's my disclaimer, but I'm just saying. So, we have a question here from a viewer. She wants to know, is it safe for me to suck his dick after we've had sex?
Wow.
That's a question.
Yeah, and that's a very good question, and I think that's a fair question. That depends on, it was one thing in particular that immediately comes to mind is yeast infection. And when you develop a yeast infection in the mouth, that's called oral thrush. Now, if you decide to suck his dick prior to him penetrating you and there's no protection, then there's a good chance that the oral thrush could now go into your traditional yeast infection in your vaginal area, and vice versa. So if you have a yeast infection in your vagina and you suck his dick, and after he penetrates you, then it's a good chance that you'll develop a good case of oral thrush. So those are some of the things I want people to always keep in mind. STIs or STDs, we now call them STIs, and how they are transferable from top to bottom and bottom to top. Other than that, unless there's something medically else going on, I can't see an issue with a woman sucking a dick after they've had sex. It's really fair game, and it's what you want to do and what makes you and your partner feel good. What do you guys think?
I don't know. I think it depends. I guess it's a challenge. It depends on what kind of sex you're having.
Right.
Yeah, because I mean,
vaginal sex, so anal sex is something totally different.
Yeah.
All right, because that's a whole nother area with multiple layers of bacteria. So that's something totally different.
It is. But then again, when we had our conversation about anal play, you talked about if you're going to do that every time, you should be making sure that area is clean, and not just by cleaning the outside, but the
inside.
Right, the inside.
The enema. Right. Usually the traditional way of cleaning that, and even if you use an enema, there's still no guarantees that you're removing all of the bacteria, because that bacteria has been spackled in your body or in your colon for years. So even with using an enema, that's not going to fully remove all of the necessary bacteria from your bowels and your anus. So keep that in mind. I know that's a little grotesque, but I want people to be aware so that you can make a fully informed decision before you go putting a dick in your mouth.
I'm just saying, I had to sip some tea on that one.
Yeah.
I just had to sip some tea on that one. I'm like, oh, wow, these are embarrassing
But that's a good question, because some people, if you think about it, how many of us have just gotten caught up in the moment? And you wake up in the morning, it's like, oof.
Shit.
Yeah. Probably did all that.
She said probably shouldn't have did all that.
Okay. Yeah, if you see me on the street, don't speak to me, like one of those, shit got out of hand. But we had fun. Yeah, and it just happens. Things you become uninhibited, and if you're having a good time. So things can kind of get out of hand sometimes, but just do what's necessary to make sure you protect and take care of yourself.
And so what about you? What say you?
If it makes you happy, do it. If you feel dirty, don't do it.
Right.
That's it. If you feel like the person that you're putting your mouth on isn't clean, you probably shouldn't do it.
Probably shouldn't be
If
sleeping.
you feel like you weren't clean, you probably shouldn't do it. If you feel like you're clean, handle it. I really think it's really up to you.
Yeah.
It's really up to you. Do you feel comfortable afterwards? Can you live with yourself? If you can, go ahead.
Can you look yourself in the mirror?
Can you look yourself in the face with this stuff?
Ouch.
After you're done cleaning your face, can you look yourself in the face?
Continue.
One thing I will say is this. I have been told that cleaning yourself with soap and water after sex is actually another really good way to help prevent infection and things like that.
Urinating after sex too.
Yeah, and so another thing is personal favorite is Listerine. Listerine kills a lot.
Does that burn?
It does, but it's actually the preferred. But I use Listerine more because the other stuff has a lot of sugar and stuff in it. Yeah. And you think about because you want to kill the bacteria in your mouth. You don't need all that sugar. You need something. If it's burning, it's working. And when you use it, after a while, you can tell it's working because it stops burning.
Because it's okay. Mm-hmm. I was thinking about you using Listerine somewhere.
Oh well, no. I wouldn't say use it during the. But you know what? But that does bring into question. Now, see this. About the grapefruit thing, but it seems like a lot of work. Honestly, I don't know that. I mean, you would have to really stage that. I don't know how you would work that in, but we'll save that question for a little bit later because Jada got me curious. I'm just saying, she's like an expert. She did that on the Red Table Talk. Did you see that?
I didn't see that one.
She didn't show it, but she was talking about it. You didn't see? Yeah.
No.
So
you'll have to tell us about that one because I'm not familiar with that one.
Oh.
Grapefruit juice. Or you say grapefruit?
Oh, well, let's talk about it now.
Okay.
You sound like you know what I'm talking about.
The famous grapefruit scene from
I've seen that one.
That
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it? I mean, like,
I'm not doing it.
It seemed like it's a lot. I mean, it seemed like,
is it necessary? Like,
it just seemed like it's a lot. It does spark curiosity, but it seemed like, okay, you got to cut the grapefruit on both ends.
I'm worried
You gotta,
about the citrus thing.
yeah, like, well, apparently, I don't know.
and
What-
sometimes the skin on the dick is sensitive. And,
Right.
It's a lot of acid in there. Like she said,
a lot of
so
acid.
I mean, I think most men are good with just a good old dick sucking.
I'm
I don't know.
thinking-
He needs all
They
the
prefer,
grapefruit and everything. But hey, if that's what you
Humans
like,
grapefruit.
yeah, then so be it.
Maybe, but I think, well, I don't know. In my brain, I kind of see a mouth covering less territory
Right.
with a piece of fruit there
Right.
in between. So it's like less work.
That's what I was just okay. Maybe it's just less work.
I don't know.
But hey,
Or maybe you need a fresh grapefruit. Does that make a difference?
I don't know.
Maybe no. Either
Oh.
way, I'm good on it.
right.
So the next question, female ejaculation. Is it pee or what?
Oh, so I had to do some research on this one, personally and professionally.
She said person.
And there's a journal, and I want to bring up the Journal of Sexual Medicine. And I actually just started to subscribe to this, and it has some awesome articles in it and research. But Dr. Pastor, he reviewed a bunch of studies about this phenomenon, because for quite some time it's like, oh, it's just pee. It's not real. Well, apparently there is a female organ, and it's known as the female prostate, and females can ejaculate. Now, I can personally attest to times when I've had sex, and it's like, wait a minute, I've experienced that squirt, and it's not pee, because I know when I'm emptying my bladder and when I'm not. And what I usually try to do, or I guide most women to do, is if you know that you're going to have an orgasm, or whether it be through masturbation or through sex, go empty your bladder, because your organs are all right here, and with the your uterus contracting with an orgasm, it could be pressing up against your bladder, and urine is going to come out. Same thing that happened during childbirth and everything else, and that's natural. But the research talks about that's actually not a phenomenon. It can actually happen, as well as it being fluid, vaginal fluid. And yes, sometimes there's pee, and there's pee. So we could pee,
Urea, right?
and experience female ejaculation at the same time.
So that, and let's talk about that, because I think that's a lot going on.
It is.
I think for female ejaculation, I don't know if it's the same. I mean, I wouldn't know if it's the same kind of sensation, like the same kind of intensity that a man has, but I think it's pretty intense.
It's kind of like, I can't compare a female orgasm, of course, to a male orgasm. I can only go by what's reported and what's documented in research and whatnot. But, most men, if they ejaculate, they have an orgasm. That's not always the same case for us.
Right.
Like, we can have sex and come without having an orgasm. Like, we can excrete some sort of fluid or liquid without having an orgasm. But my understanding is it's not, just looking at the research, it's not exactly the same. The intensity level, both reported feeling really good. So there's a sensation of it feeling good and whatnot, but if it's exactly
Different.
the same,
it's different. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, so in other words, when you say that it can excrete liquid like vaginal fluid, even though we haven't had an orgasm. So that's kind of like our body's helping us fake it.
yeah.
So, right. Cause I'm just saying, I mean, yeah. So we don't, every single time. I think that's another thing, right? Within the course of sexual intercourse, I think men think, he inserts step 1, insert
Right.
penis. 2, pump really hard,
Right.
really fast. 3, woman ejaculates. 4, you ejaculate, or sometimes they get 3 and 4 confused.
Right. Right.
So-
and then they automatically assume because there's a wet spot
Right.
that she's had an orgasm. Wrong. No.
Right.
One does not equal the other one.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And I don't know. I don't know how to even. Right. It's definitely, I think it's impossible to really compare male and female orgasms, but I wouldn't really even know how to begin to make a distinction. I know it feels different.
Right.
But I don't know how would a woman actually make a distinction. How would she know that, well, I've only had this ejaculation and I haven't actually had an orgasm? How would a woman know, okay, this is my first time I had an orgasm? Like, I've spoken about an ancestral plane. Like, I've been to some astral planes in other places, and that's what tells me, okay, I'm there.
So most women report when they've had an orgasm that they sense this numb and tingling feeling all over their bodies. You can actually feel your vagina pulsating. It feels like it's pulsating. Most women will report, if it's a vaginal orgasm, that it's pulsating. Or somebody says, my pussy is popping.
No. Okay. Yeah. I don't know why I never connected that. I was like, what is she talking about? I'm thinking popping, like,
Yeah, no. But it's like it's popping out at you. It's reaching out. It's trying to kiss you. Depending on who said it down there. It's trying to reach out there and kiss you. But and then when women talk about coming or there's this vaginal fluid, there will be clear signs of vaginal fluid. It'd be a lot of, depending on the woman, it could be anywhere from a small amount to a large amount of wetness. Something will be wet. You'll feel it. And then other than the evidence of just feeling it, it's not always clear. Sometimes it's like a milky discharge. So it will look like a milky discharge, but it's everywhere. And then some women experience, they report, I have to put down a towel because it's just wet everywhere.
Wow.
Yeah. So shout out to those women.
Hey, y'all the real MVPs.
Versus, the whole urination piece is when I think some women have more control over their urethra and clitoris. And if you go to push, it's kind of like you're going to push and urine is going to squirt. And sometimes female ejaculation will squirt. I think that was the famous word, word we hear often. And I've heard all kind of stories about it shooting across the room, or just a little bit, it being a lot. So the research is clear that it's not a phenomenon and it does happen. It's just like you said, being able to know when you've had an orgasm and when you've had, when you've ejaculated and when you've just come.
Okay.
Yeah. So
interesting. So my understanding, I think that it's good to have these conversations because, our understanding of sex changes, right? As we evolve.
Right.
And I know for me, I didn't know that. I think I read something recently saying that there's like 5 different kinds of orgasms.
It's about 3, depending on which journal I pick up or what I research, it's anywhere from 2 to I've read an article the other day to 6, and it was on Flipboard, and I was like, wow. We have work to do.
Yes.
More exploring, but I encourage people to continue to explore.
Yeah.
Because I think what we know about our bodies, especially when it comes to sexuality, is limited right now, quite frankly.
Right.
I think we're limited, especially as women, because for so long we've been taught, either sex is a dirty word, it's only for marriage, and it's never for self-pleasure. It's always to please your partner. So it's important, and I encourage women to continue to explore your body, continue to, in a safe manner and having that conversation. Make sure it's a safe space for you to do that.
Yeah, I think that's true. I know, and some of my experiences have either of you had experiences where you've dated a particular type of man who didn't like for you to initiate anything, wasn't open? Did you ever try to have the conversation with someone and they weren't open to it?
Yeah, my ex.
Oh, see,
which is why he's
fellas, keyword.
On now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what was going on with that?
He's just selfish. He's just selfish. Like the kind of person that just want to lay there and put his arms back and just, that's what sex is like.
Yeah, because I'm starting to think, as strange as it, I really do think that even in this day and age, a lot of men get their ideas about what women should be doing come from porn. You see Becky or whatever her name is, Patricia, Pinky, whatever. She's doing sit and spin on your dick. She's getting paid a couple of bands to do that.
Right.
She is a performer. And they expect like regular women to I'm just saying like,
right.
whatever happened to the like joint interaction.
I don't think they're giving that. You know, when I listen to men talk about conversations that they've had with other men, especially from childhood, who taught them about sex, it was Uncle Umfufu or somebody out, you know, in the yard or on, you know, in the neighborhood. Oh, you know, this is what you do and this is what you don't do. So there is I don't even know if there is a space where men can sit down and have some honest conversations about how to really be intimate with a woman and what that looks like. And what you see in this porno, like you said, that's a professional getting paid.
Right. It's a performance.
It's a performance. And it's a form of entertainment.
Right.
So that can't be it should not be your go-to, and to assume that's how you interact with every woman. But unfortunately, between the pornos and those conversations with these men who are ill-informed and uneducated themselves, and they're probably poor lovers themselves and they just don't know it, they're just spreading a virus. So it's important of misinformation. So it's important that women continue to conversate. We continue to have dialogues about what we like, what we don't like, so that hopefully that will become less and less.
So I'm glad you said that, because that's a perfect lead into my next question. What is as much or as little detail as you want. I don't want to, but when you think about some of the best sexual experiences that you've had, what was it that made it great? And I'll go first, if that helps. Yeah, if that helps. For me, it's when he's attentive, when he's paying attention. If he's reading me and he's watching how my body responds, he's learning. And that is one of the things that makes
he's into you. Obviously, he's into you.
Right.
Yeah. And it's not just your body, but it's your mind.
Right.
Too. That is some sexy shit, and men need to know that. They don't do that enough. Like, if you treat me like a whipping board, like you were
piece
saying
of meat.
earlier, just bang, bang, bang.
Bang, bang, like boomerang. They watch that.
You really didn't do shit. I'm sorry, but you didn't. Yeah. But when you pay attention, and sometimes it's attention to the details about her, and just taking the time to explore. Yes. And even, including grooming yourself before you explore. Those things is important, and that can lead to, I think, some of the best sex.
I think so too.
Yeah.
What about you, Miss Lachey?
I like when, I like to feel as if we don't necessarily have to talk about it, but you know what I like. It's cool to talk about it, but if I don't have to, that's even better. Like, I don't like, I prefer to engage in sexual encounters with grown men.
Absolutely.
Who make decisions. It's very difficult to engage in that kind of relationship with someone who does not. They don't know what they want, they don't know how to do it, or they just think that sex is about their penis.
Yeah.
And that's the only focus. And I can do everything to you with my penis.
Yeah, no.
It's like, no, you forgot a few things.
No.
I'm just letting you know. Yeah, there's a lot of, and I think that, and that's another part of the conversation. Like, how do we, I think we really do need to start breaking news. No, baby, that's not it.
I need more from you.
Teach him. Teach him how to treat you. That's another key component to a relationship, even outside of sex. Teach that person, and you determine how they treat you or how they continue to treat you, but teach them. And I think I hear most people saying that, okay, I'm telling them I like this, but then I hear just almost an equal amount of people saying, well, I don't say that because I don't want to hurt his feelings.
Yeah, and that's, but see, and that's, and I just, boy, okay, my mouth, I can't help it. It's one of the things that really grinds me when I hear these men talking about how hard black women are. We've been doing a lot. We've been protecting y'all feelings for a very long time.
Very long time.
A very long time. That's, we protect, when y'all not really putting it down in the bedroom, we just, hey baby, yeah, that was good, great, yay, great orgasm, Hercules, it's, we give it, and then we'll get up and cook you some food and make you feel like you were the king, and in reality, we really needed to be telling you, baby, I didn't even have an orgasm, I didn't climax, it was okay, I didn't feel it, and I'm gonna take this moment to give a shout out to this blog I found on Instagram called The Voiceful. because this sister wrote an article. I've been talking about this article since I read it. She wrote this article saying how his dick wasn't big, but it was murderous.
Ooh.
And it went on to describe her sexual encounter with this man, and it was almost like an act of, almost like an act of violence, but it wasn't, it wasn't hurtful. That type of violence. It was something different, and it's a little, strange. And I think, and it was comment after comment after comment of women that could identify with that experience. I know for me personally, I got a million stories. I remember I had one experience with one guy I was seeing, and I mean, I guess he thought he was doing something because he was well endowed. And I'm gonna tell you, well endowed is not. It's really
I'm glad you
overrated because most men with large junk, they just rely on their size. They don't really use skill. They just rely on size. So if you medium, you all right. Trust me, you doing all right. But this brother was well endowed, and he pumped me so hard. Me, him, and the mattress ended up on the floor, and I'm sitting there confused, like, how the hell is us and the mattress on the floor, and I still ain't came yet? Like, what? That's your fault.
Yeah, well, when they big like that, they going past everything that matters.
Yeah, because you have a G spot,
right?
That's really, and to me, and I know, and I'm like you. I wish men would stop the dick measuring. Like, that is not.
It's not, y'all.
Do you understand? I have a cervix there and a uterus, which and really, you put me in a position of either danger or infection once you start tapping up in there.
Uterus,
and that shit don't feel good. No. I'm sorry, and like you said, it seems to make them lack a lot of lust in the bedroom because I got a big dick, so I can just pump her 60 times and she's good to go. No. And women, we put out BDRs. I don't know if people are familiar with BDRs. BDR is a bad dick report. Okay, don't catch you one. So become more aware of your dick and what you doing.
BDR.
Yes. It's real though. We would tell the crew.
Yes,
we would tell the crew not to mess with you.
But
and that's when you stop having a name. Yeah, you get a number. You get a nickname.
Yeah.
Yep. You get an account.
Yeah, we gonna all talk about you. Right. We all know a friend who done met you, and we gonna tell about you.
I know him, girl. Let me run down his BDR. Okay?
Check.
Yo, I'm gonna start a website called the BDR Report.
Put them all on here.
And
with your pictures.
Look, and as many pictures as flying around. We don't need your face.
Right.
We just need the picture.
I know you done put it out here in this here internet. You are out here in this internet, bro. I already know.
And there are a number of things that can get you on a BDR too, like you showing up smelling. That's something else too. Wash your dick and balls before you show, especially if you're gonna demand somebody put their mouth on it. Okay, so there's a list. Criteria list that could get you on a BDR. Don't find out.
Right, because I tell you, men are very, very strict. They're typically, I don't like, you need to do this and you need to do that, do this, and then they will show up with some ashy ass feet,
complete
look like
opposite.
They've been kicking the Pillsbury Doughboy. They will show up with an ashy ass. This dude showed his ass was gray. His ass was gray, yo. And gray booty. And I don't look like a silverback goddamn gorilla. I'm saying,
that'll get you on a BDR.
BDR,
aka gray booty.
But you know what? Now, see, I'm talking about him now. But I at one point I loved him. So I didn't.
But your love ain't on trial.
I didn't.
That gray booty.
So I don't deal with that goddamn gray booty.
You can't deal with that gray
booty.
You deserve better.
I deserve better than gray booty.
You deserve a lotion.
If the man won't take the time to put lotion on his butt, he's not.
Or his feet. Because I know it's a lot of dudes. They will put lotion everywhere and stop at their feet.
It's like, why do you stop there?
Why stop at your feet?
No, but they will demand us to be. No, man, she got to be clean shaven. Now I don't want to see no hair. I want to see an even skin tone, there and if. But we don't always get that in return.
And not only that, I'm glad you said that too about the shaving, because I think one thing that people, for some reason, people think it's nasty not to shave. your pubic hair is there to
Serves a
protect
purpose.
you. It serves a purpose. You know, everything on your body, there's nothing on your body that's just like, I don't need it. you
Except for this
need
little
it.
thing right here.
Right.
We still ain't figured out
Oh, yeah,
what it's for. Yeah.
You're right.
Maybe it's to rest the dick. when it's the- Okay.
So, you know,
Evolution.
I'm just saying this
Yeah.
is just, this is just all personality, y'all. So, but it is for a purpose, and it does
Right.
prevent against it. And I'm gonna give you a perfect example, and I think people need to know this. So, particularly shaving. If you're shaving right before sex, I don't know. I have a lot of mixed feelings about that. My preference is to trim because
Right.
when you're shaving, you run the risk of nicking your skin. And any
infection.
opening in your skin makes you more prone to a sexually transmitted infection. And whether it's herpes, HPV, herpes is a skin condition.
Right.
So a condom alone does not always protect you.
Or against the HPV.
Or
as
against
well.
HPV.
And it's just like shaving before you go
Right.
into a hot tub. It's just
Right.
as you make yourself more susceptible, just
To
like you said, to bacteria,
infections, yes.
viruses, and infections. Don't do it. I
Right,
wouldn't
especially
recommend
because
it.
hot tubs, because of the warmth, the
a
heat.
breeding ground.
It's a breeding ground for bacteria.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't even do hot tubs.
No,
I don't.
no. And
it's-
if a man is performing oral sex on you and he doesn't practice good oral hygiene, that makes you more susceptible to
Yeah.
a number of things after you've freshly shaven. So keep that in mind.
That's why I'm just a big proponent of, everybody use Listerine before, after. Rock it out. Kill it. Whatever it is.
Okay.
Just kill
Everybody
it.
bring that little bottle or your big bottle, whatever you got.
I got a big bottle.
Okay, I do too. It's necessary. That's
It's
good,
necessary.
though.
Yeah. Well, again,
Yeah.
because I that's just what I like to use for my teeth. That's just how it keeps my teeth really healthy. Okay. So we're going to go on to the next question because this is one I think that'll take us a little out. So one of the questions that came in is, what is the dirtiest thought you've ever had about a stranger?
Ooh.
Now, I know this isn't, I guess people trying to dig into our minds,
Yeah,
but,
yeah.
so you looking at me like I don't have no answer. You got to answer.
No, I can find an answer. But
I like to find the
listening to you.
answer.
I know you like, but then I know she. So I'm gonna have to start talking about Trees because she a little off. She too quiet over here. You know the quiet
Shy,
ones. They always say,
yeah,
watch out for the quiet ones.
Just saying. I think stranger. Like I don't really see strangers and have a plan.
I don't. Well,
So I'm trying to think.
Now, I know somebody has pulled up. Who was the one from not Greenleaf? What's the one where the whole family? What's the series? The dark skinned brother with the beautiful beard, beautiful.
I do now. You know what I'm.
I know we've looked at a brother
there-
like that, and I know you've had some
that
plans.
Kofi, what's his name? Kofi Sitterbo? Is that his name?
Yes.
Is that his name? The
Ko-
one with the grapefruit. Mr. Grapefruit himself from the movie.
Oh, from the movie, from the movie.
What's his
Yeah.
name?
Yeah, he's on that show.
Sabor.
So
Kofi.
Uh-huh.
I
Yeah.
can't remember his.
I
last
can't remember his name.
But that boy
Not
is
Queen
the
Side.
perfect shade of brown.
chocolate tate.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
I see. Y'all got
Yeah.
some plans
Yeah.
already. I can tell, and
If
that's
I
a
was to
straight.
ever see that gentleman, I would have to introduce myself and just say hello. I would say, sir.
Yeah, it's a few
It's-
gentlemen.
You
I
said
play.
what? It sounded like I heard a Freudian
It
slip
would
in
be
there.
a pleasure to meet you.
Naked.
It would be a pleasure. Outside of like celebrity, I guess I don't really see strangers and have a plan. Now, if you say something to me and you a stranger, you might trigger something
Right.
in my mind.
Or just see someone and think to myself, I wouldn't mind sitting on his face.
That's
You know?
the extent of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You
yeah,
have a
sitting on
face
his
worth sitting.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
sitting on this face.
Yeah.
And just, just because there's something about a full set of lips that just like.
What?
Ooh.
What?
Yeah.
You ain't had oral sex till you had. When we was kids, you make fun of
Right.
dudes with big lips. When
Right.
people would be, no, you ain't really had
No.
life until.
Look, I take it all back.
Yeah, you better take that shit back.
All back. With some nice lips and
What?
and a good tongue. All right, you find a dude with a good tongue, good thick tongue. Yeah. That's. I think as far as the dirtiest thoughts, that's probably the extent, of a stranger. And I think they talk about men having multiple dirty thoughts about strangers throughout the day, and I just want to make sure we don't demonize people for doing that, because I think that's something that's very sexually healthy. It's okay.
Fantasy.
You know, fantasy is real good. Sometimes that's what keeps us safe. So that's a good thing and healthy.
But you don't think outside that box.
You know, I don't think I can't recall. Sorry, I have my mic all jacked up. I can't really recall that. I know I have seen a man that I thought was extremely attractive, and I just kind of got stuck in that moment. But I haven't really had but like you all said, like with a celebrity, I've seen somebody, maybe I thought, man, I could have some plans. I know what I could do with that. Just give me.
I got some ideas.
Yeah, I got some ideas.
Yeah, I got
Give me
some
a few
ideas.
minutes. So I don't really have anything much to contribute to that. So, but another question a person asked, I think I need to add on to this because we did in our private discussion. A person was asking, "What do you do if you get really horny in public?" And what do you all think about sex in public? I mean, outside of it being illegal.
Right.
No.
I mean, I think there's
legalize it.
I think there's public places that you can.
Because you gotta give people boundaries and rules. Otherwise,
Right.
like, if it was legal, they'd be all over the place. Like you walk out right now and see somebody getting in by the
I'm
garbage.
sure.
And that I've seen, like, wow.
Wow. Yeah. See, I haven't seen that, and I
Right.
don't know how I would react
I
if
have
I
not
saw
either.
that. No.
And for me, you know, I get a little intrigued. I watch for a minute. I'm
Like I saw
watch.
somebody at Stone Mountain Park for the 4th of July. Like they was touched
Yeah.
up about it, and I was like, I ain't gonna be no hater.
Right.
Y'all get it in, but y'all know we out here at this park for the 4th of July, like the kids is walking by.
Right. Like,
We
That's
not
what
gonna
I do.
interrupt you.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
Come on, man.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's like, well, if they're at a public event like that, I think they know that people are there, and that's probably part of the
right.
turn on.
Right.
Yeah.
I think, you know, sex in public can be romantic. Like you said, you don't want you don't want to expose those vulnerable populations to that. But I've had sex on a balcony, on a hotel, in a bathroom, in a gender neutral bathroom or co-ed bathroom in a very famous mall. But it was nice and discreet. Even in the park, you just have to be, you know, discreet about it. I think that's okay. And just be mindful again of your surroundings and be safe, you know, because you don't want to walk away with a rash in a nasty spot or in an uncomfortable or sensitive area that may not feel too good.
Right.
But I don't dismiss that. Sometimes some people need to step outside the bedroom, and I'm one of them. You know, I can't, like, really, the bedroom every time. But
It gets boring.
yeah, it gets boring. And to each their own. But I remember going back in high school, going to the what do you call it, movie theater, the drive-in. Man, just about everybody in the parking lot was getting it in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, but it does help bring back, especially for these couples or partners who, you know, sex becomes a routine and it becomes mundane, and you need to help break that monotony.
Spontaneous. Make it spontaneous. For me, I know I'm always curious, you know, but for me, and I don't think, you know, to put it in perspective, I don't think sex has to actually be the act, because I've always, the relationships I've enjoyed the most were ones where the flirtation was all day.
Thank you.
You know, I'm texting you while you're at work.
Right.
You know, we may go out, and the whole time, you know, there's something going on that other people can't see, but, you know, we know what's going on.
Right.
You know, so to me, that's also very public. It you know, and it just
exciting.
kind of it just adds to it. And I think that in order to even have, I cannot stress enough, in order to even have that kind of relationship, that kind of sex, you have to have a trust in your partner. You have to have intimacy with your partner.
It has to be a connection.
It has to be a connection. Yeah. That's important. And I think that there's other ways, and it's another thing I think we should bring up too. We should talk about later on is intimacy, because intimacy is a very, very. I'll say this: I've had experiences with people. Where it was a person I knew that was getting into professional cuddling, and they have actual professional cuddlers that they.
I've seen it on Vegas. Like,
you can be totally unclothed, but there's no sex.
Right.
It's just intimacy. It's just closeness,
Right.
and
Because you can have sex without having a level of intimacy,
Yes.
and vice versa. And
Right.
so many people don't they don't know, because they really don't know what the real definition of intimacy is.
Right.
And that's not just intimacy is not just penetration.
No, not at all. Because I think, one of the most intimate things, like you said, is about knowing your mind.
Yeah.
Because for me, I'm a sapiosexual, so you can be like really good looking. I've had really good looking men hitting on me, but there ain't nothing upstairs. You can't turn me on if there's nothing upstairs. So I'm gonna need, you really, I'm just at that point where really for anybody to really get there with me, they have to stimulate this.
And that's how many women evolve. Like you said,
Mm-hmm.
it goes beyond just the aesthetics and you having a big dick. It takes more than that.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It does. It takes a lot more than that. And I'm hoping that these brothers out there start to understand. And on that note, I want to make sure that we are in the process of building up our inventory of official DFD gear, and we have our very first item, which is our official DFD mug. And I don't know how well you can see it, but right across the top it says "Got Good D." Got good D. So I thought this was a good time to bring it up because we are talking about D. But on the other hand, we're also talking about dialogue. That's what the show is about, right? Dynamics and dialogue. So we keep that in there, and this is a part of our merchandise plan. So yeah, so I hope that you all enjoy this. I'm going to hold it up just a little bit closer to the camera, see if you can see it. I'm holding up two.
Here's the third one.
There's the third. Hope you all can see it really well. So in order to get one of these free, if you want to get one of these free, come see us on OfficialDofD.com. Join our website. It's a community. This community, again, this show is not just about sex and silliness and having fun. It's about freedom. It's about acceptance. It's about open dialogue, about dynamic dialogue. And I can be very serious, but right now is not the time for that. So what we're going to do is invite you to the website, want you to join. The first 15 people to become a gold ambassador gets one of these beauties for free.
And these are some nice, good, sturdy cups.
Aren't they?
Mugs, I'm sorry.
Aren't they?
I was looking at the quality and I was like, wow.
Aren't they?
Yeah.
I picked a black, and I think I'm going to order some with red too. So you'll have two choices, a red and black interior. I can see some women really liking the red interior of the mug, because I just was torn between that. So listen, I want to thank you all for coming, tuning into our podcast today. I hope you got some good information. You heard from our great friend Ella Shea Farmer and Takesha Weidman Smith. I want you to follow us on social media. Give everybody your social media, ladies.
You can follow me at Madqueen at Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. It's MAAD.
And you can follow me on Facebook at Takesha Weidman Smith. That's WIDEMAN, and it's hyphenated with Smith. And on Instagram at TK_Weidman Smith. And I'm also on Twitter at Takesha Smith.
And I am Rebel Queen. You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Rebel Queen the Poet. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at OfficialDofD. Join us next week for another great episode. Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed our show. Tune in every Sunday at 3 p.m. at OfficialDofD.com. Follow us on social media at OfficialDofD. Your dynamic, your dialogue. Come get some.